A Musical Life with legendary piano pedagogue Eleanor Sokoloff. Eleanor Sokoloff has been teaching piano at the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia since 1936. At the ripe young age of 102, she shows no sign of slowing down. Some of her most esteemed students have included the likes of Keith Jarrett, Lambert Orkis, Susan Starr, McCawley, Meng-Chieh Liu, and countless others. Welcome to A Musical Life. I'm Hugh Sung. This year, Eleanor Sokoloff will be turning 103 years old, and remarkably, she is still teaching piano at the Curtis Institute of Music and pouring tea at one of Curtis's most beloved weekly Wednesday tea time traditions. This interview was originally recorded 2.5 years ago as a 2-part video that was significantly edited down for time purposes. But thanks to the long-form medium of podcasts, I thought it would be fitting to provide the full version of this wonderful interview with one of the most important piano teachers of our time. By the way, Mrs. Sokoloff was my piano teacher when I was 8 years old. And thanks to her, I was able to enroll at Curtis under her tutelage at the age of 13. I should mention that at the time of this interview, there was a construction crew doing some repairs in an adjacent apartment, so I apologize for the drill and hammer sounds you'll hear at times. Well, without further ado, it is my great privilege to introduce to you Eleanor Sokoloff. When I was 8 years old, I started serious piano studies with Eleanor Sokoloff, and little did I realize I would be working with one of the world's greatest piano teachers. And really,
Thank you.
So thanks to Mrs. Sokoloff, after 3 years, I made my debut with the Philadelphia Orchestra. And 2 years after that, I entered studies at the Curtis Institute of Music with her. Mrs. Sokoloff, thank you so much for taking time to talk with me and to share.
You're very welcome. It's my joy.
And Mrs. Sokoloff, now you're at the ripe young age of 100. Is that
That's
right?
right.
When did you turn 100?
In June.
In June.
So I'm on my way to 101.
I love it.
I love that connotation anyway, 101.
That's well.
It implies a beginning.
There you go. The beginning of the next century of your teaching.
Right. I hope so.
So, Mrs. Sokoloff, I before we get started on I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
I guess you've been teaching for a long time. Can you name some of your favorite or most successful students that you've worked with?
Number one was Susan Starr.
Yes.
Because I started with her when she was 4 years old.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And anybody else?
10 minutes at a time.
a
Jumped off the seat every 10 minutes.
Really?
She was a kid. 4? You don't expect much. But she soon buckled down.
Yeah.
She zipped through music. Music is her life.
She's remarkable.
Yeah,
Remarkable pianist.
she's a wonderful artist. She is, really. And she's local, which of course is a handicap.
And for many years, you sent many of your students to work with her when you spent your
Oh,
summers in
sure.
India, right? So
She's a wonderful teacher.
yes.
Yeah, she is. She's wonderful. She's the first one. And then who else? Well, I've got a lot of them. There's McCawley.
Yes.
There's Hugh Sung.
Hugh?
There's Uni Han.
Mhm.
I don't know if you knew her.
I don't think so. I don't remember her name.
There's several. I know I'm going to offend somebody.
That's okay.
But there's so many. They are all over. A lot of my girls are at universities teaching piano, which the ones who have university jobs are doctorates. They're all doctorates. And this is something I insist for the girls. Boys seem to make their way.
Interesting.
But girls have a hard time.
Mm.
Women still have a hard time in this country.
I want to get to that question in just a little bit. So,
Okay.
but what are the secrets for a pianist to have a successful career?
Well, when it comes to a career, here I'm a little confused because you never know with that.
Mm.
But with the proper teaching,
Mm-hmm.
at least they have all the things they need
Mm-hmm.
for a career, and the rest is up to them.
Mm.
There's so many ways, so many paths to success.
I know some things that are very indicative of your teaching. You have a very strong emphasis on strong foundations.
That's right.
Are there any? I mean, technique is a very
Well, that's the way I teach.
Sure.
First of all, you know that ridiculous statement that I've made before about the plumber coming to your house without tools.
No,
It's the same. Well, it's the same thing as being taught without a proper background, a proper equipment.
What kind of equipment? Just for folks who are perhaps young people who are seeing this interview, what sort of equipment are you referring to?
I'm talking about basic equipment first, and that's scales and arpeggios and exercises.
Mm-hmm.
That's the old way, the Russian way, by the way.
Yes.
And the Russians are formidable pianists when they come to competitions. Everybody's afraid of them.
Well, they have such powerful technique.
So you know what it is. They're given the tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that with the most accomplished people who are trained really well in China. We have a lot of Chinese students. And they're trained beautifully, but I continue it. And the book that I love and use most frequently is Giuseppe, Advanced School of Piano Playing,
that is remarkable.
which covers almost every technical problem that you might encounter. And of course, all depends on how they work, on how devoted they are to it. But I will tell you something that's very important, and that is that we have had at Curtis many pianists who have injuries and have to take months off from playing the piano. Knock on wood. In my 79 years, I believe I've had one pupil who didn't practice the technique and had an injury.
So do you think the lack of technical training
You have to warm up every day.
Yeah.
You have to. It's like running. You stretch your muscles before you begin. And piano practice is the same. And all those things that you learn at the beginning will help you stretch your muscles.
And prevent injury. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
As we were setting up, you were telling me a little bit about your early start. I wanted to ask you how you got started playing the piano and how you entered Curtis. You had a fascinating story about your background.
Well, I started when I was 8. You came to me when you were 8,
That's
but you
right.
had before.
Well, not really. I had some very basic.
That's all
training,
right. You had something.
I didn't know my scales. Well, I didn't know my scales or anything. You had to give those to me, but please,
but I had nothing. However, I lived in Cleveland, Ohio. I was a very sick kid, very sick. I had pneumonia 3 times. I had a mastoid operation, which nobody has anymore. I had that operation when I was 9. So all this interfered with my study. I started at the Cleveland Institute of Music. Good place. When I started at the Cleveland Institute, it was in somebody's house. They didn't have their own building.
Oh, really?
No,
Wow.
it was a very small beginning. I had theory in somebody's house. I don't even remember. I didn't understand anything. I mean, I was too young. I just didn't get it at all. I remember that vaguely. However, when I had studied there for 6 months, Ernest Bloch was the director
Oh my goodness.
of the Cleveland Institute.
Wow.
Yeah. And I played his Enfantine in a recital after 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
So I got a wonderful report card from Ernest Bloch. That's all I remember. But I got nervous. I didn't have enough background to be doing that. I know I enjoyed the performance, but I hated the idea before. You know, the nervousness.
The butterflies.
I got nervous
Mm-hmm.
after 6 months. So this is terrible what I did. I was asked to play again because I was such a hit at 8. So I stuck my hand in an anthill.
On purpose?
Both hands.
On purpose?
On purpose.
Oh my.
And got so poisoned.
Oh no.
Blisters. My hands were like this. I had huge blisters.
Oh my.
Red ants are very poisonous. Don't ever do it.
And you did this purposely? So
I
you
did it
wouldn't?
purposely so I would not have to perform.
Not recommended for our viewers,
No.
by the way.
Not at all.
Oh my. Oh my.
No, but I also recommend not playing in public until you are comfortable with playing the piano. 6 months, I didn't know much.
My goodness.
So then what happened after that? Oh, that's when I had the operation, and the doctor said, get her out of this climate. Cleveland is terrible. Climate is awful. You get snow in October, and it stays there until and so we moved to Florida, and there is nothing musically, nothing. I made friends with a former pianist. Her name was Manazuka, and she had musicals in her house, and I played there. But my mother wanted to enroll me in the Miami Conservatory of Music. So she took me there, and my first lesson was this. That's what I was told to do for a week.
A week?
That was the piano.
It looks like kung fu.
Well, it's supposed to be to relax you.
Oh, I see.
But this is stupid. And it costs money to wake your hand. Exactly. So that was a waste. And then Manazuka got me a teacher, and the teacher, she was well-intentioned, but she really not. I know what I learned from her. And I presume she's dead by this time, as most everybody is my age. Anyway, she followed me. We came north again, and she came north with us. Yes, she really thought I had big stuff in me.
Wow.
I don't know how she knew or what she knew. But anyway, she prepared me for Curtis. My mother, whom I thank every day because she kept after me, my mother loved music passionately. And we had the first recordings that came out. They were this thick. And 1 minute, 1 second, and the record was finished.
Oh, my.
It was so rudimentary at the beginning. Anyway, we had lots of recordings playing while she cleaned and did everything around the house. She decided when she became pregnant with me, I'm the oldest. I was her first, and she decided that I was going to hear every bit of music that I could before I was born.
Oh, wow.
So she went to the Cleveland Symphony. The Cleveland Symphony in that time was just beginning, and the first conductor was McCawley Sokoloff.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You get this coincidence?
Yes.
It's amazing. So you can imagine how excited, first of all, how thrilled she was that I had talent. When I brought him home, you can imagine how welcomed he was. My father, who was against my ever seeing any boys at all, I came to Curtis when I was 17. I auditioned at 16, but came there when I was 17. And with lots of warnings, and I was put into a girls' club where you had to be in at 9 o'clock. It was during the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
$8 a week for room and board.
Wow.
Amazing. 6th and Spruce. I think that building is still there, but it serves another purpose. But in my time, it was a place where working girls at Litz and Gimbel's and Strawbridge's, they were making $10 a week.
Wow.
That was their salary.
My goodness.
So they came there. They could live there. We were 3 in a room, 3 beds in a room. I had to have a spinet because they couldn't get a grand piano in my room. I hated that spinet. I didn't practice there much. But the first year was really very hard for me.
You had mentioned that it was very difficult for you.
The first year I was a fish out of water. I mean, all I could hear these wonderful players. I mean, they were just brilliant. And I was doing, what was I doing? Early Beethoven, Bach Inventions, 1.
My goodness.
2-part. I started there. That's where he put me back. He knew I didn't have anything.
And your teacher was David Saperton at the time.
Yeah.
Right?
He knew I was a beginner, but he was not a good teacher.
But you had mentioned that thanks to that, because of your experience of struggling to get some of these basics down, I think that's been some of the keys that
I know,
help
but it's
you
embarrassing. You have to put yourself in my place. I'm not 10 years old.
Yeah.
When you're 10, that's fine. You can go back to 2-part or preludes and fugues. Most of them are they have big repertoires. The Chinese kids, they all play big stuff. They're all prepared to come to Curtis. We don't take anybody who isn't really tops. And the standard has gone up so high. These 10-year-old kids, I've got a 13-year-old. He's wonderful. Wonderful. Tosses off the Chopin Rondo and the first Hungarian Rhapsody and beautiful Nocturne and wonderful first etude. The first etude. I mean, they just rip these etudes off like they're nothing. It is amazing.
But
and they're young.
Yeah. Amazing.
You can still mold, make them more expressive. He's expressive. If he doesn't get in, I'll be very surprised. Wow. But it's going to be much worse this year.
In terms of the competition?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Mrs. Sokoloff, how did you come to start teaching at Curtis? So you had been a student there, and how did you start teaching there?
A miracle.
Oh, okay.
My life has been full of these miracles. Number 1, I was still a student, and Madame Messina, I don't know if you remember.
I do remember Madame Messina.
Martha Messina.
I remember her, yeah.
She became pregnant, and she was going to have her first child. She had to be removed from the Curtis. She was not to be seen while her pregnancy progressed.
Why was that? That sounds
That's
so
a
strange.
good question. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. But that's the way it was in those days.
How strange. Okay.
You protected the children from seeing
Seeing a
a
pregnancy.
person who's going to have a baby.
Interesting. Okay.
So she had to take a year off. So who to find? Why me? I was, low man on the totem pole.
Oh.
I mean, in my estimation, I always felt that way. Just look who was in my class. First of all, George. He was
George
just
Bullet, yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And the sweetest guy on earth. Yeah, I loved him. Anyway, you remember I
Of course.
gave you to him.
Yes.
That cost me a lot.
Aw.
But anyway, I knew that with George would be wonderful for you. And, all right, back to the story. So they appointed me to take that job.
Wow.
That was in 1936.
Had you graduated from Curtis then, or
No.
you were still a student?
I was still a student.
Wow.
Yeah. Even more remarkable. I got married that year.
Oh.
Yeah, we were married. I was still a student, but he was finished. He had a job.
This is Vladimir Sokoloff we're talking about.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, my husband, who became Zimbalist accompanist that year. And I got my job.
Wow.
See, so then we knew we could get married.
Oh,
So we
wonderful.
got married. And they appointed me to this job. I have had the most wonderful people in that era. Shmuel Ashkenazi, Aaron Roseanne.
As your student.
Yeah. He calls me Teach.
Oh.
Hi, Teach. 3/4 of the quartet, the famous Guarneri.
Yes.
Couldn't think of their name. The Guarneri quartet. I had Mickey. I had John Daly, who was the second violin, and what's the first violin?
Arnold Steinhardt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
also. They used to play for each other.
Mhm.
Also, Jamie Lovrado.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's
Wow.
still,
Hmm.
he's so devoted. It's just touching. Jamie, I had first players from the Philadelphia, who are now, most of them retired.
Our little
Philadelphia
drill, little background,
Orchestra.
little background.
Yeah.
noise. That's
See what I
okay.
mean?
That's all right.
And I had wonderful Benita. I had great singers.
Wow.
I had organists. I had everybody. You know what you
Amazing.
get. You
Yeah.
get half of them didn't practice. Ronnie Rubin from the Philadelphia Orchestra. He's retired now. And Matt Ruggiero, who has died recently. He was a bassoon. First bassoon in the Boston Symphony. They all studied with me, and they never forgot me. Anyway, that was my experience In the meantime, my little pupils from outside of Curtis, Lambert, Susan, Joanne Pierce, I had so many who auditioned for Curtis and got in, also played with the Philadelphia Orchestra.
Yes.
I've had a lot of people who've played with the orchestra.
Yes, you have. Yeah.
But that's my history. That's it. But the miracles were always one step. Sirkin brought me into the solo piano.
Wow.
He heard he was auditioning people, and I had more little students than anybody else. And fortunately, they did well at the auditions and got in. But they were, Some of them took it twice, some of them took it 3 times.
Your track record really brought
But
you
it
to
brought
the
them
attention of
in.
Mr. Sirkin.
Yeah. Well, they did well. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't take anything away from them. They worked hard.
Well, they needed a great teacher to get them there.
Yeah, well, I worked hard, but that was easy. It's always been easy for me. And that I call that, you know, it's like Shmuel said, I think, in the film. I don't know if you saw the film. Did you see the film?
Which I'm not sure if I've seen.
No, no. If you're not sure, you didn't see
Okay.
it. They made a film, this guy from, I don't know where he's from, Massachusetts, yeah. He made a big film of me. It lasts an hour.
Oh, wow.
He did it several times
Mm-hmm.
with Jenny Chen.
Wow.
You know Jenny
Sure, I
Chen?
do. Yes.
Yeah. She's in Yale now.
Wow.
You know she got admitted without being told, we'll let you know. She got admitted on the spot. They weren't going to let her go.
That's wonderful. Wow.
And did you know Shu?
No, I don't think I knew Shu.
Meng-Chieh's pupil, he was over age. He had his master's already, and we admitted him to Curtis. I think that's a big mistake. And he was a wonderful guy, very sweet guy. He got admitted with her for his doctorate.
Nice.
But she got admitted for a master's. I'm very proud of Jenny.
Yeah.
She really worked her little heart out, and such a joyous little person. And always happy. Very happy. Sweet.
Mrs. Sokoloff, you are still teaching at Curtis.
Yes, I am.
Still actively teaching.
Yes, I am.
I wondered if you could share the secret of how you managed to remain so active and productive.
Again, luck.
Luck.
No. First of all, there are a lot of people who teach who would love to teach on and on and on, and things happen to them. But I'm in good health, and I have my wits still at 100, so why not?
Wonderful.
Why not? Keep going.
Well, do you
That's
think-
my great pleasure, is to teach. And young ones. And it's mothering, too. There's a lot of mothering. That's what Shmuel said. He said she's also a mother.
Do you think it's the love of teaching, the love of music that has kept you young all these years?
Well, no, I don't, because I believe other people have done it too. Have not, they've dropped out, they retired, or they stopped.
What kept you going?
The fact that I am in good health and that I am with my wits and can hear and can still do what I've always done.
Do you have any health secrets for keeping?
No.
No secret diet? No.
I eat butter and I could drink milk. I mean, I'm not practicing any special diet. Maybe I use a little less salt, and Wendy keeps me, she objects to every little bit of salt and sugar that I would like to use.
That's wonderful.
But she helps a lot.
We were kind of talking on the side about the role of women and how you recommend that your female students pursue doctoral degrees for safety.
Yeah.
How do you feel the careers for women have changed over your lifetime? How has
Okay, I'll give you a good example. A good example is the status of our major piano department. You take off. How many women are in that job? Only me.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that an illustration?
Yes. Yeah.
And I have felt very strongly that something should have been done about this a long time ago. And when I came to school, it was the same way. There was Sven Gerve, and that's all for the women. Why is it that we aren't considered good teachers? Why is it? What is this problem?
Do you think prospects will change? Are they improving for women at this point? Or do you think it's still pretty much stuck in the dark ages?
I think the women in performance is very low.
So still a lot of progress needs to be done on that front.
Of course. That's why I'm protective of my girls, because I know. I'm looking at Uni Han, she's been gone from me for a long time, and I'm watching her. She had a decision to make when she left the Curtis. Should I go on? She's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Should I pursue a career, or should I get married and have a family and teach or get a university job or something? She went to Juilliard to get her. She's still working on her master's, I think. But she's performing wherever she can. And she plays so sensitively, so beautifully. And she has fans wherever she goes. But it's a struggle. And she's been doing this for, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
Oh, my. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, you know, time goes by. For a woman, it's critical. She loses her ability to have children after a certain time. And here she is, struggling to make a career. And why is it so hard? I mean, if a boy first of all, you have to be accomplished. I mean, there's no question about that. But the boys, if they are in the right place at the right time, they substitute for some sick artist, and they're noticed immediately. I'm thinking of Kwakwa, if you know him, Leo Kwakwa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a very shy boy. I remember him well, and he plays so beautiful.
Yes, he does.
All right, he took somebody's place, and now he has a career. Or through a competition like Hao Chen. Or, I don't know, like Meng-Chieh. Meng-Chieh is struggling. He's doing much better now,
Yes.
but it's a man. You understand?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I don't see any women. You've got Martha Argerich at the top. That's it. Who else? I don't agree with the others that are at the top, that they call at the top. I don't know. She's it.
Yeah.
Now you see, the field is just
Not level.
No.
No.
You tick off the guys at the top in the male department, and you have a lot of pianists.
Yeah.
Zimmerman, you have Emanuel X, you have, what's the name of the, he's so one, Murray Pariah.
Sure.
You have, they go on and on and on. And they're good, they're wonderful. But the women are too. I don't know what the explanation is. It's just that it's always been hard for women, and it's continuing. It's improved, but it's not in my department.
Not nearly enough.
No. In other arenas, they are doing fine. Politics, even in politics, they're a minority.
I'm going to reset the camera really quickly. This is wonderful, by the way. I love what you're.
It's true.
And I love that you're sharing this. Okay, let's reset the camera.
Oh, listen, I've always shared. I've always said what I felt.
I love it.
And it has put me in a lot of hot water. But it's true, it's true. I feel very badly about being the only person of my gender in that department. Because women have a natural gift for mothering or for loving children. And it's such a perfect spot for somebody who cares.
Yes.
because they need that.
Mm-hmm.
They need that.
Yeah, especially the young.
I'm not easy. Don't think that. I had a terrible reputation when I was teaching you, that I was strict and not
But in
so.
a motherly sense too, just like a mother, who's serious about raising
Yes,
their
yes,
children,
but
they want the best for them. Yeah.
they know that I love them.
Yes,
They
that's
know that, even if I'm strict.
yes, yes.
They do. They know that.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Oh, I've got they're just wonderful kids. Nina, who? You know Nina?
I don't think I know Nina, no.
Well, she's 14. She's the youngest in school, I think, at this time. Nina who? Wonderful little girl. And Zitung Wang,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
another one.
Mm.
And Daniel Shu,
Yes,
the youngest
yeah.
of the Shus.
Yes,
He's marvelous now. He had a hard time. You have older brother and sister, especially Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
You know Andrew?
Yes.
Yeah. He's a brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel is just a good kid.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He's not a big brain, he's not a dazzling, but he has what the other two don't have. He has the heart.
Mm-hmm.
He plays and he moves you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very special.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, he's been trained.
Mm-hmm.
He came at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really tell my teaching from that.
Wow.
Because I put him through the paces. And he didn't mind, some of them. I firmly believe that there are very few Americans who are willing to do this kind of work.
Why do you think that's the case?
Well, look
now?
at the
Yeah.
look what comes to Curtis. We don't get any Americans. The Americans we don't even want.
Is that a cultural problem? Do you think that can be rectified, solved?
Well, there's something about independence and doing what you please when you feel like it. And half of our kids, when they get to college, they don't even know what the hell they want to do with their lives. Pardon me for the...
Very true, yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
But the Chinese know. They know from their first day at an instrument, they know if they want to do it or not. And then the parents, all right, the parents help, and they say, things about Chinese mothers. I think that's wrong. Some of them do it a little more than others, but I don't think it's right to brand a whole culture that way, because I admire their work ethic. I really do. They want to succeed. And I think it's connected to the parental respect that they have, parental respect and teacher respect. The teacher is right up there with their parents. It's not separate. It's all connected.
Respect for authority.
The respect, for authority, but it's not that, it's their parents.
I see.
It is a parental authority, not just authority. I don't know how they feel about a police state.
No.
I don't know. That's authority too, but it's
not
separate.
authoritarianism, but
It's just limited to that.
Yes.
To those
Parents and
three
teachers,
people. And it is extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Yeah. I don't know what we could do in this country. I don't know. Because there are outside influences that seem to be strong when you're in your teenage years that takes away from the parental authority.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of parents do just let their kids grow up like weeds.
Mm-hmm. With little interference.
Even when they have authority, there's resistance to that authority, which comes around 14, 15,
Mm-hmm.
even earlier in some kids.
Mm-hmm.
I see it. I see some of them when they come here, when they come to this country, and then they reach those years and they see what everybody else is doing. They're not dumb. They would like to do the same thing. But they don't neglect their work.
Mm-hmm.
That's been ingrained. These children start when they're 3, 4 years old. It's incredible to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen things on Facebook from China that are extraordinary. Little orchestras of tiny little children playing clarinet, flute, wonderfully. I just can't.
I can see some Americans perhaps saying, well, that's fine. There's a culture of discipline and hard work, but here in America we have individuality. We've got creativity. Perhaps they looked at that as a strong point.
Not in my department.
Interesting. So even with the hard work and focus and discipline, you still also see creativity come through and individuality come through? No? Or in other words, do the pianists that come from these countries...
Look at our department, Hugh. Yeah. Show me the Americans.
True.
I want you to show me.
Yeah.
We don't have one.
Yeah, yeah. And yet...
And gradually, it's been disappearing.
Yeah.
We had Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Is he American or English? I don't know what does whether he's American or English. But he was the last American.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really sad.
It is. It's quite a
and
statement.
we are fair.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. If it's my pupil, I don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes,
it's a fair thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
We take the best. And if they're Chinese, they're Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
If they're Indonesian, we have one girl from Indonesia. She's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you, the Chinese are winning thumbs down.
And remarkable artists.
I have all Chinese pupils.
Wow. Wow. That's
I've always had a lot of Chinese. Always. Asian.
Mm-hmm.
There was one time when we had a lot of Koreans.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that time?
Of course.
There were a lot of them, girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No more.
Interesting.
I don't know what's happening.
Mm.
They probably have good teachers now.
Mm.
There's Kyung Suk, she's over there,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
holding forth, and I have a few other pupils whose names I've forgotten already.
Kyung Suk was one of your pupils.
Oh
too,
yeah,
right?
Kyung Suk was my pupil. Yeah, she's big thing in Korea now.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other people too, lesser, who are teaching
Mm-hmm.
and sending their pupils.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Min Kyung Kwan in Rutgers.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, she's wonderful. There are a lot of good people. Yeah. There's another Ming Kwan, who's in.
I remember we were classmates. Yeah, she's teaching in.
Not Min Kyung Kwan.
Min Kwan Lee. Was her last name Lee? I can't remember.
I don't know because
But
I don't have it.
I remember her.
She's
as a
on my
student.
Facebook, but I get confused because they have the same name. Yeah. So Young Yu,
Yes.
remember her?
Yeah.
She's teaching there. There are a lot of people who carry the torch.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And a lot of female teachers in other countries.
What?
A lot of female teachers in other countries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But here,
Mrs. Sokoloff, I wanted to switch topic just a little bit tangentially. You have a beautiful Bösendorfer piano. I'm just curious as to how you came to decide to get a Bösendorfer. It's a lovely instrument.
It's also, I don't know, I fell into it.
How so?
I will tell you.
Okay.
First of all, Valerie Vogt, who works for Jacobs,
Yes.
also Susan's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
is there.
Mm-hmm.
But Valerie is an old friend.
Uh-huh.
And she called me. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Steinways.
Wow, 5 Steinways. Okay.
You have to understand. One was my from home, old piano. Billy's. Zimbalist gave us a piano for our wedding present.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He wanted us to do 2 pianos.
Mm-hmm.
He hired Brodsky and Triggs to come in and teach us 2 pianos. We
Wow.
did a good job
Mm-hmm.
for a while. Anyway, but then it came to getting a manager and going on tour, and that's where I drew the line. I had 2 children. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
When your children are young, they need you.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't go flopping off for weeks and months at a time and leave them. You can't with somebody to take care of them. No, that's no good. So I said no. So we went to 4 hands. That was better. By the way, I'll never forget your graduation.
My graduation?
4 hands, you
No?
and Seymour.
Yes, that's
I
right. That's right.
remember.
Oh, yeah. I was so nervous, and I remember
You both played so
it was
beautiful.
wonderful.
It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Seymour was saying, I know those Sokoloff scales that you can play got him nervous. I had to practice my scales to keep up with you. Thanks to you.
Yeah, well, this is part of the thing, but I still remember it. And so that's what made us go to 4 hands, was my objection to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then we played and played and played together a lot for years. And then I got arthritis in my thumbs.
Oh, okay.
I still have arthritis in my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew. We had a concert every year in the museum.
Mm-hmm.
There's a series there, and it was run by the Tasty Cake lady.
Oh, okay. I remember her. Yeah, I played at her house.
There you are
years
with the
ago.
oranges around the pool. Did you see that? Her piano was in the pool place, and she had little orange bushes with oranges on.
Yes, yeah.
I couldn't get over that. It was distracting. Of course, the piano also had notes that didn't play.
Yeah.
Because being near the pool
Sure. Yeah.
was a stupid place to put the piano. Anyway, her name was Herbert C. Morris.
Yes.
Mrs.
Mrs.
Morris.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I liked her. She was again a little powerhouse, a widow. And we played there every year. And she called, and I still remember that day, and I said, Mrs. Morris, I don't think I can play anymore. I have such arthritis in my thumbs that I cannot schedule 4 hours a day. You can't. It's just so painful.
Yes.
And although they say it's better for you to keep doing it, garbage. No, you can't. You have to practice. If you want to perform, you have to dedicate yourself to practice.
Yes.
And I did for all those years when we were doing 4 hands and 2 pianos. I was working 4 hours a day, and I loved it. I really, those were the high points of my life. But all good things come to an end, and that's when it stopped, right there. So, that's about that subject. I can't think of anything else.
I was just wondering how you came across, because you'd had Steinways for so
about
many
the
years.
piano.
And just
Thanks
wondering
for
how you
getting
came...
me on the track.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, then we had had this invitation from Valerie, who was expecting a great. She and her husband owned the Wilmington Piano Company.
Oh, sure, I remember that. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And she called and she said, "Look, I'm sending a limousine for you, a stretch limo.
Nice.
You get in that car and come to the factory where we are. I would like to show you the Börsendorfer, what it can do." So I thought that was exciting to get into a limo, stretch limo. So we got in the limo. Well, I persuaded my husband. He didn't want to change his Steinway for anything. But anyway, so we got in the car and we went. Took 20 minutes to get to Wilmington in that car. And she showed us all the Börsendorfers that they had they had a lot of them. And there was this size, and then the big one.
The Imperial, yes.
With the 4 extra keys and the machine that recorded you.
Oh, that.
You've no idea how wonderful that piano is. I don't know what it costs today, but at that time it was like $160,000.
It's like, I think it's about $250,000 now.
Must be at least that much. But that piano is so, and I was so excited about that piano that I begged, who was the director? John Delancey? I don't know who it was. But I begged him to let us try it in the hall. Let somebody try that. So, of course, there was this guy from Iceland or from, I don't know where he was from, Denmark, somewhere. He had a Danish name. He was graduating.
Yes. Sepp, I think his name was Set Gruten. He was a classmate of mine. I remember him.
What was his name?
Sepp Gruten.
Sepp.
Sepp.
Right.
Yes,
the first name was Sepp. And he was asked to try the piano.
Yes.
I don't know what there was about the piano that he didn't like, but he did not like it.
Really?
And he made such a, I guess he heard himself for the first time. He didn't like what he heard. I don't know. But he was graduating. So they purposely asked him. He was a pupil of Gary's.
Yes, I remember.
He said no. So the piano went back. And I was so angry. I was really angry. I thought, what a great opportunity for kids to hear themselves.
Yes.
Because it was true.
Yes, yes.
It was a beautiful, I don't like that Yamaha thing. And that's even better than it used to be.
Yes.
But that records you also. However, those are all moot points. The piano went back. But I liked the piano. I thought, first of all, I thought this part about the piano was the best thing I'd ever seen. However, it does not have good repetition, but you have to work on it to make it good. People who know how don't have any trouble. But the Steinway has the accelerated action, and that is nice. But this is not, doesn't have it. But if you look at the wood of the sounding board, it is so beautiful. The quality of everything in this piano is wonderful. It has ivory keys. It has handmade everything inside, no machine made. They make only 600 pianos a year, and your headquarters are in Vienna. This is not an American piano. How they got import, I don't know. How they got privileges to do it. They must pay for it or something. I don't know how. But this is a wonderful piano, and I don't care. Susan doesn't like it, and I don't care whether she doesn't like it or not. I love it. And I decided right then and there, I'm going to get rid of my old Steinway, and I'm going to have a Börsendorfer. So I did,
Lovely.
against all the Curtis rules. They're Steinway people.
Yes, I know.
That's
Yeah.
all right. I don't care. They're not happy with that Steinway in the hall. They're not. You listen to the faculty. Doesn't matter. Because Steinway is still made by machine now.
Well, no.
They don't make much hand stuff. They don't. No more handmade. But this one is still, and I wish you would look at that wood
I would.
underneath.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
Yes. Yeah,
It's
yeah. It is
beautiful.
gorgeous. I love those.
Also, look at this piano and see the depth of the piano. It's this wide. The Steinway is this wide. That must have some difference. I don't know. Anyway, I like this piano.
I'm going to reset.
That's how I happened to buy. And I've been happy ever since.
How have your thoughts on performance practices changed over your career? In other words, do you find things that were not acceptable back early in your career that are acceptable now, and vice versa? Do you find that performance practices in general have changed over time? The way
Performance practice.
The way you interpret a Beethoven sonata or a work of Liszt. Do you find that the interpretations have changed dramatically over the years?
No.
Oh, interesting, really.
I don't think so. I think in the earliest of performances, even before my time, it was customary. I mean, we accepted a lot of rubato in the performance, which we don't do as much today.
Interesting.
Now we keep we're much more forward thinking in performance of music. We don't make an abundance of retards. I mean, where there are places that you feel you want to you want to relax a little bit and show the change of a section or the change of a phrase. We don't make retards anymore. We keep the piece going. I think that may be about the only thing that I've noticed in performance.
Interesting.
But no, I think it's pretty much handed down from one great pianist to another. We accept a lot of things that great pianists do that we might not want to do ourselves. But it's true. It's true that performance has really been perfected by the recording system, which doesn't accept errors or mistakes. And that, I think, is wrong. I don't think we ought to make things perfect in performance. They never are. I remember one Canadian pianist who played perfectly. He didn't move you much, but he played so perfectly. He never made a clinker. He never lost his place. It's not human. I always loved Serkin for that. He didn't care if he got lost. And he did. He got lost in the Italian Concerto. He got lost in Mendelssohn Variations. Serious?
Yes.
He improvised one variation. And he wasn't very good at improvisation. But it was a human thing. He also he was so cute, this guy. He remains in my heart as the most wonderful man. And even though he ignored the fact that when he was hired, he promised that he would do less concertizing, it doesn't work that way. The minute you become the director of the Curtis and you're a pianist, your workload doubles. I mean, the concert, the field. But he used to, I can't remember now which one it is where he used to go like, he had glissando in. He made no bones about it. That's what he told me. He always did that at that place. And he told me to watch. Hey, he's going to do it. Also, in the Brahms, there's Brahms 2. There's a place where it goes, ram, ba-bum, ba-bum. He missed it every time, and he used to be frightened of that part. He had to prepare his mind for that. I mean, human things that pianists go through. It's wonderful to hear, that they're human.
Yeah.
Because some of them do absolutely amazing things that make you wonder how they do it. But he was just wonderful that way. I think for him, his hand was not a pianist's hand. Each finger was like a sausage. It was. He couldn't get in between the keys.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
And he used to practice. Boy, was he driven. I remember my doctor had an office right next to his house on Delancey Street. And I used to go there. She was a friend as well as my physician. And I used to spend the day there. I'd go from one thing to another, but she always had interruptions. Or she talked. We were friends. And in this, all the time I'm there, I hear the scales. But not scales, da-da-da, not moving. Da-ba-ba-ba. One note at a time.
Wow.
That's the way he practiced. It was incredible. Anybody who ever went to that office heard him. That was next door, right through the wall. You could hear him working hours, 3-4 hours on scales.
Oh, my goodness.
That really, I mean, it's too much. Peter used to think it was terrible. Peter was in my house all the time.
Mrs. Sokoloff, can you think, and you've had probably many miraculous moments in your life, many magical moments. Is there any one particular special moment from your career that you'd like to share? Something that stands out in your musical career? Something very extraordinary, very special?
Musical career.
Or anything else?
Oh, yes, performances that you remember. I heard Rubinstein in person. I heard Rachmaninoff in person.
Wow.
I mean, this generation has no idea what these people were like. Rubinstein was magical in sound, in the sound that he made. It was just, and it was only in person. You can hear all these recordings.
It's not the same.
Didn't get it. Exactly opposite with Heifetz.
Really?
Heifetz, we went to hear. I was rather disappointed. I mean, an extraordinary violinist. But in person, there was a lot of rough character to the playing. But on the recordings, it's extraordinary. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Interesting.
Heifetz remains the greatest violinist who ever lived. I really think so. But what I'm saying is that in person, it wasn't the same thing.
Fascinating. Interesting.
Just gorgeous playing. Incredible. I still remember those recordings. And Rachmaninoff was another one who was extraordinary sound, the most wonderful sound. We don't care as much about sound today somehow.
What do you think the secret is to producing a beautiful sound?
I don't know. I really don't. I wish I did. I know you have to be relaxed. That I know. And you have to sit properly at the piano. You cannot sit too high, because the minute you sit too high, you've got your elbow up in the air, and it belongs to be relaxed. You have to. So you have to sit properly. And then you have to concern yourself with keeping your shoulders down and feeling your back being involved and utterly relaxed. This is the secret to longevity.
Staying relaxed.
Being relaxed. I think so. If you're tense, you have all kinds of problems physically. Yes, you do. But playing the piano is so involved. You think of the elements of making music, how difficult it is. And how young people get it. Some of them. They get it.
I hope you don't mind me asking you this, Mrs. Sokoloff, but
I don't mind you asking me anything. I don't have to answer.
Oh, that's true. There's a wonderful story that you tell about when I was very young.
Oh, about the concerto.
Would you mind telling
Not
that
at
story?
all. To me, it was something so indelible, I'll never forget it. Because there was an enthusiasm, excitement about studying the piano for you that is rare in a little child. Yes, it's true. What were you, 10?
Yeah, I was
9?
8. I was 8 when I started with you.
Yes,
It was
so
probably
maybe
9
it
or
was
10 when I got
9.
mine. Yeah.
And the windows were open. It was springtime, and your father was waiting in the car. And in my living room, I had 10 windows. So all the sound, lovely fresh air was coming in. And we were taking our lesson. And at the end of the lesson, I said, Hugh, I think it's time for us to do a concerto. And I didn't know what kind of reaction you would have. You know, you were very dignified. You were a good boy. And I hear you running down, when your lesson was over, running down the steps, and through the windows I hear, Dad, she gave me a concerto. I thought that was so wonderful. I'll never forget it.
I love hearing you tell that story.
Yeah, I remember. It's such happiness. Dad, I mean, like, Dad, she gave me a car, or she gave me a soda, or she gave me some candy. No, she gave me a concerto. Believe me, I've never had that reaction since.
Mrs. Sokoloff, you have been my musical mother. I have loved you so much.
Oh,
through the
bless your
years.
heart.
Well, you have blessed me. You've given me so many things that I've needed to enjoy a wonderful career thanks to you.
Well, that's great. It's nice to hear. It's very nice to hear. But, you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for every pupil who ever walked through this room.
And they love you
Or
dearly.
through the rooms in the other house. Do you remember 1450? That's where it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's no longer there.
Yeah, sorry, they tore it down. Yeah.
Do you remember when they made the big hole in the ground for
Yes.
the
University of the Arts. I remember that. Sure.
new hall? Danny, this is where I first really got to know Peter Dobrin, because he interviewed Kathy and me at the hole. The big hole in the ground where I used to live, and he wrote this article about the Sokoloffs where they used to live. It was so nice.
Wow.
That's where I got to know him. Now he's my friend. I really love him. He's a sweetheart. It's hard to say about most critics. Did you see the article he wrote in the paper today about Claude?
No, I didn't. I'll have to check it out.
It's in the news, not in the
Yes.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Big article. This big.
As Claude deserves. So
Huh?
Claude deserves a
Oh,
what a
absolutely.
legacy he leaves
A
behind.
wonderful, wonderful man.
Wonderful human being.
Wonderful man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not, I'm not talking about his musicianship.
His humans. Yeah, he's a wonderful human being.
He was the sweetest guy.
Mm.
And I remember when the Alzheimer's started.
Mm.
When after the auditions, I got all these men together and said, I'm going to take you all to dinner. Let's go to the Warwick, to the, what is it called?
Smith and Walensky's?
No, the sirloin.
The steak place. Prime rib.
Prime rib,
I'm
thank
sorry,
you.
Yes.
That's where I fail names of things.
Mm-hmm.
Some escape me, some don't. I could go way back and think. But prime rib, we all went to the prime rib. That's right. And we had a lovely dinner. First of all, he got lost. He was in the Warwick, but he got lost. Couldn't find his way. So Meng-Chieh went to look for him. Then he came to the table, and we all had this lovely dinner, and we were all tired. Those auditions are murder.
They are.
4 days now.
Yeah.
So he didn't want me to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I didn't accept, but what I'm saying is his effort. He went in his pocket and he pulled out his room key.
Oh, no.
You know, it's a card.
Yes.
And he was going to pay with that.
Oh,
so I
my.
knew something was
Yeah.
wrong because he didn't. His impulses were always kind and good.
Yes.
I always sat next to him because he was so sweet. He always was. Good sense of humor and very sweet guy.
Mrs. Sokoloff, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for being so generous with your time.
Oh, that's okay.
Sharing these wonderful stories.
You're my boy. I could go on.
Yes.
I did for
To see the two-part video interview with Mrs. Sokoloff, visit the show notes at amusicallife.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for our newsletter to get the latest updates on future episodes. You can also subscribe to A Musical Life through iTunes or with your favorite podcast playing app and get new episodes automatically downloaded onto your smartphone, tablet, or computer. If you enjoy these stories about making music and the things that move our souls, please tell a friend about this show and consider posting a short review on iTunes at amusicallife.com/review. Thank you for your support. Until next time, I'm Hugh Sung, and I wish you a musical life.